Good morning, class. Welcome to the online classes for physics of class 12. We have already started the chapter magnetism and the matter. We have seen several topics. This will be your last topic, which is according to a book. You can see in your book also that we are going to the topic tangent galvanometer. We have already learned in the moving charges and magnetism that what the magnet galvanometer is, right? What we have seen that the galvanometer is a device which can measure a feeble current, right? It can measure a feeble current flowing through that. It cannot measure a heavy current. So it is a device which can deflect its needle when a feeble current flows through. And we have seen the construction and the working of that galvanometer also, that a rectangular slab structure has to be taken and the number of the turns also there in the structure of that rectangular slab, and it is kept in between that a horseshoe magnet. And due to these two magnetic fields of this magnet, they try to oppose one side and will be moving on the other side. So what we can say that the pair of forces will be acting and they will try to move on the different sides. So this pair of forces will try to rotate that slab, and this rotation will give a torque, and torque will be applied on both of it. So what we can say, when there is current flowing through it, then also the magnetic field will be there, due to which this rectangular slab will move. And this rectangular slab will be connected, that is not a glass slab, okay, it will be taken as a copper turns on a magnetic substance. What we can say that the aluminum coil is there with the connection of this rectangular coil. What it will do, that whenever it moves, that aluminum coil will also try to show the deflection. That needle which we used to see on the instrument of that galvanometer in the laboratory of the physics, you can see that the needle used to move. And why this used to move? Because our rectangular coil is used to be moving with the help of this moving coil. And what this moving coil will do, that is due to that of the current. So this moving coil will be moving due to the effect of a moving charge, that is any current element. So whenever we are doing the practicals for any meter bridge or any the potentiometer, when we are connecting the jockey, so what we see that whenever this jockey is moving through any of the wire of the potentiometer or the meter bridge, it shows the deflection. Why it is showing? Because that wire is having some current, so it is carrying some current which will be a feeble current. So it will be calculating this current value, right? And it is very sensitive instrument, you can say, because it easily get melt also. Its wire can melt also. You can see the construction of the galvanometer also, that there is a phosphor string which we have seen that it is connected to a this rectangular slab also. So this coil, whenever it will turn, it can make just that string to be melt, because whenever the current will be high, the string can melt. So what we can say, that rectangular coil will move, and due to this that aluminum coil will also show the deflection, and this deflection can be seen in the galvanometers upside, that is from the mirror. And the mirror is used so that the parallax should not be there and the deflection should be easily seen, right? And here we are going to see the different type of galvanometer, that is a tangent galvanometer, which we were using in the lab, the moving coil galvanometer, right? Here we are going to see about tangent galvanometer. We can see that galvanometer is a device which is used for measuring small current. And here this galvanometer of tangent, it is a first measurement device came for the current. So at that time, moving charges and that current carrying element can show the magnetism. This was not there according to the theory. So they use the magnets to show the magnetic field. And after that we have seen the Oerstед experiment also, that a current carrying element shows the changes in the magnetism, or they can produce a magnetic field also. So from there it came that the galvanometer can also show through the current carrying coil also. So they have prepared a galvanometer which will work on the tangent law. And what the tangent law is, that whenever there is a mutually perpendicular two fields, we can say here, because we are taking a magnetic fields, otherwise the any components you are taking, the vertical and the horizontal components, if these two components are perpendicular to each other, then that tangent will be working, right? The tangent that will be taking as an angle theta with the equal ratios of these two perpendicular components. But here the magnetic field will be there. So any two magnetic fields should work, that is B2 and B1. You can see in the figure also, that is B2 and B1 should work, and in this between the tangent will be taken, which will be angle theta, and will be dividing this both magnetic field in the same ratio, that is B2 upon B1 can be taken. Okay, that is perpendicular upon base. So there the two components of the magnetic field will be required. So two mutually perpendicular magnetic field will be required to move this north south pole, it is given already that is a magnet, so it will try to move this magnet. But here when we are talking about the construction of a tangent galvanometer, there will be a needle, there will be a magnetic needle on the same as that of a compass. Okay, so now we will see the figure that how this galvanometer look like. So this is what the tangent galvanometer is. So you can see from the figure that this is having 3 coils, right? These 3 circular coils are there. So this is the first construction that consists of the 3 coils, and they are mounted on a horizontal turntable, right? You can see in the down that it is a horizontal turntable is there. On that these 3 coils are kept, and this consists of a circular frame. You can see the first circular frame, vertical one, it is kept on the down one, that is the down base, you can say. This is what the circular frame is, and here the non-magnetic material is mounted on the horizontal turn. When you are talking about a horizontal, then it is mounted on the non-magnetic material. Okay, and more frequently they use a ebonite material, which we have seen in a key also. You have seen the key, there the black part is used, no? That material is a ebonite material, so that part is mostly used in this galvanometer. So what we can say that the 3 coils here, you can see they can have the number of the turns also. According to that we have to connect this device, because we have already seen that the different figures are there for different instruments, and we used to connect it. Here also it is connected, but what you can say that this is what the smallest compass needle is there. Okay, whenever you bring a compass from here near to this, parallel to that of the direction of the needle, then it will show some deflection, and some current carrying conductor should also be there. So what you will do that you will attach a current carrying conductor here in this coil. Okay, so in this coil you will be connecting that current carrying conductor, and due to this current carrying conductor, what will happen, that it will produce magnetism, due to which this needle will show deflection. So what we can say that it is a made up of non-magnetic material which is fitted in the center of the circular frame. So this circular frame, this compass of non-magnetic material is kept. So whenever we bring a compass near to it, so it will show the deflection also. And similarly, if any current carrying conductor also brought near it, then also deflection can be seen. So what we see that the needle pivoted at its center with a long thin aluminium pointer. This is a thin aluminium pointer in which the galvanometers, moving coil galvanometer, also having the same aluminium coil which is attached perpendicular to it. And we know that the horizontal circle, we already say that is mounted on the non-magnetic material, that is, or the insulated material, that is ebonite. Similarly, what we can say that a plane mirror is used at the base so that it can remove the parallax error also. Okay, so what we can say, this 3 terminals already given, 4 terminals. In this, the first will be connected to the positive terminal, but these 3 will be connected according to the number of the turns, because it is given, you can say it is 2 turns, 50 turns and 500 turns. So these 3, as you can see, this will be connected according to the 3 vertical horizontal circles. So what we can say, that it will be connected according to the number of the turns. If it is between 2 to 50, it will be connected to the first. It will be more than 50 or less than 50, then it will be 50. It will be connected if it is more than 50 and less than 500. So it is a base terminals. You can say that this both are the base terminals. So they will be connected, and this will be the leveling screws. These are the leveling screws. They will be down at the surface, and here this coils will be connected according to this, will be connected to the positive terminal. These 3 will be according to the number of the turns. So what we can say, that this tangent galvanometer will be leveled according to this leveling screws. With the help of these leveling screws, they will be leveled, and the coil is rotated, that too with the help of the magnetic needle parallel to that of the compass. In that, if a plane coil is also along the magnetic meridian, if you take this coil along the magnetic meridian, then also there will be some deflection. Okay, so what happens, that this galvanometer based on a tangent law. So when no current is passed through the coil, then it is influenced at Earth's magnetic field. Okay, it is influenced by the Earth's magnetic field, because we are not taking any magnetic needle, or we can say that we are not taking any current pass, or external field is not taken. So any current passing element or current carrying element is not taken there, or no current is passed through that element. So what we can say, that only Earth's magnetic field is, when current I is there, so what we can say, that there is a magnetic field that too perpendicular to the Earth's magnetic field is always there, because Earth's magnetic field will always be there. So if you are taking I, then the I and BH will be perpendicular to each other. Now this current carrying elements or the moving charges will again produce magnetism, so we will get magnetism. Magnetic field will be produced, that is B, and BH will be the Earth's magnetic field. So we know that B and BH will be there, right? So let the B be here and BH be here. So what we can say, that tan theta will be equals to perpendicular upon base, so it will be B upon BH. So here B value will be BH tan theta. So this will be the value for the tangent law. According to tangent law, this will be the relation between the Earth's magnetic field and the current carrying coil will be having some magnetic field. It will also produce magnetic field which will be equal to like this. Okay. So next we can see mathematically also that this was a galvanometer. We have seen the leveling screws, base terminals, short magnetic needle, aluminum point is there. So what we have seen, that the aluminum magnetic needle is pivoted at the center, horizontal circle is also there, vertical circle is also there. So three coils are having different 22 turns, 50 turns and 500 turns will be there. Vertical will be the circle and the horizontal circle will be gone through the non-magnetic material, that is with the ebonite. So there will be some deflections also, that a horizontal circular scale graduated in the degrees, that is 0 to 90 degree will be there for the horizontal one. So from there you can see also, and with the leveling screw we can just level out on the surface also. Okay, so now see mathematically what will the formula. This one I have shown you, that the tangent law, that will be equals to B equals to BH tan theta. What we can say, that tangent law, the theta will be prepared between the horizontal and the magnetic field, that is the two perpendicular components. So here the magnetic field, Earth's magnetic field will always be there, and if you take the small current carrying coil, then the magnetic field also there. So this figure you can see, that is B and BH, and magnet already that we have seen that needle will also be there, which will be taken as resultant, and the number of turns will also be there. So what the magnetic field will be, that is mu naught Ni upon 2r. We have already seen this for the magnetic field at the coil, because we have already taken this as a coil. No? 3 coils are there for the tangent galvanometer. So here we will be using the formula for the coil itself, that is at the center of the coil it will be equals to mu naught Ni upon 2r, and where the N is the number of the turns and R is that to the radius of the circle. So what we can say, from the first it was equal to that of the Earth's magnetic field and multiplied by tan theta. So they were the product. So product of Earth's magnetic horizontal Earth magnetic field and that of the tan theta. So this first and the second equations are equal, that is mu naught Ni upon 2r. So equating these both equations, what we get, we can find out the value of the I also. That boy I will be, that is 2r BH tan theta upon mu naught N. So what is mu naught? That is absolute permittivity. So here this value we already got it, permeability, sorry, mu naught is permeability, by forgetting I say that. So what we can say, that tangent galvanometer can be given as a K, that is a constant, galvanometer constant is given as 2r BH upon mu naught N. So N is number of turns, R is the radius of that circular scale, BH is Earth's magnetic field, which is always equals to that of 1 Gauss, that is equals to 10 to the power minus 4 Tesla. Sometimes it used to be 10 to the power minus 5 also. So it is always the value for that, and for N it will be number of turns according to the question. So from here we can find out the relation between I and the tangent. So this is what the reduction factor, this is tangent galvanometer's constant, it is called a reduction factor. So this is what the tangent galvanometer device. Similarly, we will see oscillations of a freely suspended magnet. What we know, that whenever the magnet is freely suspended, that it aligns themselves in the north and the south direction of the geographical earth, right? Geographical earths and north south direction, it aligns itself. So what we can say, that it will come into equilibrium when it's if it magnetic field will change, so it can just rotate. So it will rotate from its position and will try to vibrate when the magnetic dipole lies along the B, that is magnetic field B. So if it moves, so what we can say, that there is some torque is acting on it, that is tau equals to mb sin theta, that is m cross b. And same if we have to learn for the electric dipole also, that is p cross e, and dipole moment was given by p, like, and that dipole moment we have learned about p cross e. Here m cross b is taken So what we can say that this is a torque acting on the magnet. So this magnet is trying to move itself in the parallel to that of the magnetic field. So whenever this magnetic field will be there, will try to make align itself in the parallel direction to that of the B. So it will try to move it. So what we can say that again it will restore back it to the direction of the magnetic field if you will slide it also. So whenever we suspend it freely, it will move in the north and the south direction. So this parallel or magnetic fields are trying to align themselves. When you see a compass needle, what it used to be, it gets deflected starting, but after that if you see it continuously, it just try to align itself in the geographical north and the south direction. So why it is? Because it is restoring to the geographical north and the south. Similarly, when we are taking freely suspended magnet also, so before it will be trying to move or try to vibrate, but again it will come in the direction under the restoring torque of that magnet. So what we can say that it is getting restored. So this restoring force will be taken as negative because it is coming back in the direction. So that will be torque is equals to minus m cross b, which is given as mb sine theta. So what we can say that it is a restoring torque, that's why it is taken as minus. This one in 11th also you have seen, that is restoring force of a spring constant also. There you have taken this minus. So similarly it will be also a restoring torque. Now if you take that there is a small angular displacement between this magnet, that is north to south, you can see here, to align itself in the parallel direction of the magnetic field, what we can see that is trying to move with the angular displacement will be there, try to moving with an angle theta. So we have considered that sine theta will be that similar to that of e theta. So what we can write the tau as, that is minus mb theta. So minus mb theta is already given here, C on the top. Now what we know that according to the angular momentum, angular acceleration and the moment of inertia, so that deflecting torque will be given as torque is equals to I alpha, and what was the moment of inertia, that is half mr square used to be taken. So here I alpha and alpha will be given as d square theta by dt square, and this will be equated to the equation number 1, that is tau is equals to minus mb theta and I d square theta by dt square. So it will be equal to that of minus mb theta. From there we will be finding the value of the d square theta by dt square. So it will be equal to that of minus omega square theta. Okay. So what is omega is angular velocity, theta is angular displacement. So what we can say that the angular acceleration, that is d square theta by dt square, will be equal to that of theta, will be directly proportional to the displacement. So whatever the acceleration will be, it will be depending on the displacement or the angular displacement of that magnet. Okay. So the oscillation will be there between the freely suspended magnet in a uniform magnetic field. It will be coming to its mean position, again it will be moving. So what we can say that it will be similar to that of a simple harmonic motion. So what we can give that time period for the oscillation, we know that is omega equals to 2 pi by t. For time period it will be equals to the 2 pi upon omega, it will be equal to that 2 pi. And for omega we have already taken out the value, that is mb upon I. So we will be keeping that value I upon mb. Okay. So for the time period we can see this 2 pi under root I upon mb, and b it will be the magnetic field. So see the question here, that the magnetic needle is free to oscillate in a uniform magnetic field. The magnetic needle has a magnetic moment 6.7 ampere meter square, and the moment of inertia is given already, that is I is given, and already the m is also given. So what we can find out, that it performs 10 complete oscillations. It is already given that it will complete 10 oscillations, and in 6.70 seconds, that time is also given. And what is the magnitude? So we have to find the value of the b. We already known that the value of t is equal to 2 pi under root I upon mb. So from there we can find out the value of b also, that is 4 pi square upon t square I upon m. So on keeping this values of 4 will be same. For pi square it will be 3.14 whole square. I's value is given, that is 7.5 10 to the power minus 6 moment of inertia. Similarly time period is also given, that is 0.67 seconds. And again what is given, 6.7 ampere meter square, that is magnetic moment is also given. So from there we can find out the value for the time period. Okay. So in the next class we will be seeing vibration magnetometer, which will be the last topic, and in that itself we will be seeing a a revision topic for this chapter, and we will be starting a new one. Okay, so thank you class.